You know, we send and receive dozens, maybe hundreds of emails every single day. But what if one of them was actually a crime scene? Well, today we're going to dive deep into a digital forensic investigation, and we're going to follow the trail from just one suspicious email all the way back to its source. Trust me, you'll be amazed at the hidden data we all leave behind.
Just think about your own inbox for a second. You've probably got work messages, some newsletters, a note from a friend. It all seems pretty harmless, right? But for a digital investigator, that exact same inbox could be an absolute treasure trove of evidence. And when it comes to something like a phishing scam, that email isn't just a piece of the puzzle. The email is the crime scene. It's all self-contained and it's absolutely packed with clues. Our job is to process that scene and follow the evidence, no matter where it takes us. So our investigation kicks off at that initial point of contact, the digital crime scene itself. And in this case, it's one malicious email. We've all seen these, right? Those emails that look like they're from your bank or maybe Amazon, but something just feels a little off. That's phishing. It's a classic con designed to trick you into giving away your personal info. It's a pretty simple trick, but the digital trail it leaves behind, surprisingly complex.
Okay, so the absolute first rule in digital forensics, and this is non-negotiable, is to preserve the evidence. You never, ever work on the original email. Instead, you create a perfect bit-for-bit copy to do all your analysis on. This makes sure that the original crime scene stays completely untouched and is legally admissible in court. Now that we've got our working copy, it's time to pop the hood and see what's really going on. We're not so interested in the message you can read, but in the hidden data that carried it across the internet. We're talking about the email header. And this is where it gets really interesting, because the email header, well, that's our treasure map. It's got all the unique identifying numbers that can help us trace that email all the way back to the person who sent it. And when you crack open that header, it's like a detective's dream. You've got the sender's IP address, which is basically a digital return address. You have precise timestamps. Think of them like postmarks on a letter. And you have the exact path the email took, hopping from server to server. These are the digital fingerprints we're looking for. Okay, but that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? A smart scammer can fake, or spoof, the information in an email header to try and cover their tracks. So, how do we figure out what's real and what's a lie? Well, the way we do that is by checking it against an independent source, the logs from the very servers that handled the email on its journey. Think of it this way. Just like a building has security cameras, email servers have logs that record everything that comes in and everything that goes out. On a Linux server, for example, you'd look for the mail log file. On a Microsoft Exchange server, it's the tracking.log. These logs are our impartial witness. They don't lie. So by comparing what the email header says to what the server logs prove, investigators can confirm the true IP address it came from and the exact timeline. Any attempt to fake the info just falls apart under that kind of scrutiny. Now, you might be picturing investigators just squinting at text files all day, but that's not quite how it works. They have an entire arsenal of highly specialized software to help them with their analysis. This is where the real high-tech detective work begins. We're talking about seriously powerful forensic tools that can analyze massive amounts of data, find hidden files, and even recover emails that someone thought they deleted. These tools are kind of like a digital magnifying glass, letting investigators see things that are completely invisible to the rest of us. And one of the most incredible techniques is called data carving. Honestly, the best way to think of it is like putting a shredded document back together. Even if a file has been deleted, these tools can scan the raw data on a hard drive, recognize the file's unique signature, and literally piece it back together. It's amazing stuff. But wait, the investigation doesn't just stop with the email. In today's hyper-connected world, that one little clue, that confirmed IP address or maybe the suspect's email, often provides the next critical link. The digital trail almost always leads to social media. Just take a look at this number for a second. 2.93 billion. That's how many people were on Facebook alone as of mid-2023. That is a massive amount of data, and for an investigator, a huge potential source of evidence. And here's the kicker. Since pretty much everyone accesses social media from their phones, a suspect's device can be a literal goldmine of evidence. We're talking chat logs, location data, photos, videos, all stored in these simple database files that investigators can pull out and analyze. And the kind of evidence you find on social media can be the key to cracking a whole case wide open. It can help build a timeline, prove where a suspect was, or even uncover them trying to intimidate witnesses. And you won't believe how often this happens, but sometimes criminals just can't resist bragging about their crimes online, basically handing investigators the evidence on a silver platter. All right, so let's take a step back and pull all these threads together. Let's see how one single suspicious email can blossom into a full-blown digital investigation. And this is how it all connects. You start with the email, you verify its path with the server logs, and then you follow that trail over to social media. Piece by piece, you build this unbreakable chain of evidence that can stand up to scrutiny in any courtroom. But just as we get really good at this, the game changes. Today's investigation is all about tracking data packets and server logs. But what happens when an AI can write a perfect, convincing phishing email? The next frontier of digital forensics, it might not be about tracing IP addresses, but about analyzing the linguistic fingerprints left behind by machine intelligence. And that is a challenge for another day.